Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. How you doing? Give it a little bit of time. Until then, how my bros doing? How y'all doing? You feeling good? Living life? How's the new year?
All is well, brother.
Having a good time, enjoying life.
There you go. That's what's up. That's what's up. Chris
How
is
are you doing?
doing all the things.
All the things, all the time.
You gotta call Chris his name.
Sorry.
Hey,
No, no.
listen, I was trying to get our, IG up and going. Apologies, it didn't. I click go, it didn't go. And I was like, why aren't you going?
Chris is focused.
I'm back. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening.
I'm
Shoot.
doing good. Happy New Year to everybody that is tuning in and everybody that is here. 2024.
We made it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we did.
We almost halfway
Yes, we
through the
did.
decade.
Oh,
Ooh.
And we almost halfway through life. What you mean?
Right.
Some of us a little closer than others, and that's not what I wanted to talk about.
Dang.
But fair.
Real is real.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-mm-mm.
yeah.
All right. So we are BTMO Ohio, also known as Black Trans Men of Ohio. We are a collection of Black trans masculine people who seek to increase the visibility and equity of the Black trans masculine individual through community building, mentorship, providing access to resources in the state of Ohio. My name is I go by Gogo Makulu Indalo. I am a spiritual life coach, certified, as well as an ancestral shaman, and I use all the pronouns: he, she, they, them, their, all of them. And we're gonna go. I'm gonna go from top to bottom in order of the pictures over there. Eric,
Me?
yes.
Hey y'all, it's Eric. Um, Pronouns he, him. And I like to say a jack of all trades. I think that kind of sums up a bunch of us on this little panel here, but I got ADHD. I like to be in a little bit of everything. So I've done some DJ work, I've done some IT work, I've done uh, some photography. Ooh, you name it, I could probably learn it. So I'm excited to be here. Was I supposed to say something specific?
No.
Okay. Hey. So,
Chauncey.
My name is Chauncey. Listen, it's not much to it. My pronouns are he, him. Um, I am very passionate about elevation and learning how to fish on my own and teaching others how to fish for themselves. It's pretty simple and
you know,
Simplicity. See, you said fish. My mind instantly went to actual fishing. I was like, oh yeah, right. Y'all know me and
oh
food.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we could do that too. I mean, what that actually just means is that I have just recognized in my life that I'm very passionate about the realization for myself and for others to understand their own power and how they can create the lives that they desire, and I'm not talking about just money and wealth and not all of this, all this commercial type I'm talking about like just walking in who you are, being who you are, showing up in your full self, and creating a life of fullness for you. So
That's what's up.
I love to hear it.
Yes. All the things over there.
All right, so I'm guessing it's my turn now. Uh, Chris,
Grace.
he, him, pronouns. A little bit, I guess, a little bit about myself. I don't know. Kind of similar to Eric. I'm Chris of all trades. You know, what is it? Sometimes the one that knows the most knows more than others. Sometimes I think it's something like that around those terms, right? That's what I got a history in IT. I work on cars. Some people say I know. Some people know what I could do in the kitchen, but that you gotta be special to get that. So, but outside of that, I'm here. And similar. I'm here to. I have a passion for helping people. Like I don't know, like I'm drawn to it. So that's why, that's why I'm here. That's why we're here. So, but yeah.
Yes. Let's go.
Most stuff, most stuff. I ain't get to play yet, and I know I'm on the special list, so I'm gonna have to make a trip. Kind of close.
Let's work
sound
Oh
out.
like
yeah.
a challenge, a
Hey,
challenge.
listen,
Correct.
listen. Just
Yeah, I'm gonna need a plate.
hey, February. Mark calendar. February 3rd. February 3rd. I'll send details later.
Got you,
February.
got you.
Got a whole month. Got a whole month. Got a month to prepare.
Definitely.
Shoot. All
In
right.
advance.
Our topic for today is healthcare. It's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on with healthcare these days. But before we hop into the deep part of it, what's something that changed how you view healthcare, whether good, bad, in between, or something that changed healthcare for you? How you view it, how you feel about it. I ain't gonna
I
call
probably
nobody this
say
honey.
not. I say one of the um more pertinent overall things, just outside of like gender affirming care or trans care. Um, one of the things that I recognize or transitional point in my life understanding healthcare is that our healthcare system operates in a reactive. Um, they want to treat symptoms versus curing or preventative. And that's something that I have, just been learning through life. I still am. I'm not leery necessarily of healthcare, but I'm very careful when it comes to healthcare. And I just don't believe that our healthcare system, not here in America, has our always has our best interests, as a people at heart. So that has changed the way that I look at healthcare. So, um, whereas, maybe in my younger life, a doctor could have told me something and I would have just been like, yeah, the doctor said that. I'm now in my life, I'm researching what the doctor is saying. And then, um, if we take into account our previous conversation with Dr. Liam Johnson talking about our bodies when we bring it into being trans, so now I'm researching twice as much, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that, because at the end of the day, I don't feel like the healthcare system just generally has our backs as a people, but certainly not our backs as a nuanced community. So I participate in the healthcare system, but I'm also participating in my own health as well. So
Okay,
That's a great
okay.
point. I think I'll go next because Chanti's speaking to basically what I was going to say for my own journey. Realizing that, excuse me, I really needed to take my own healthcare into my own hands. I was used to, as a child, and even kind of, you know, young adult, I was used to my mother advocating for me in that space, in the healthcare space, um, because I did suffer with a lot of different issues during my teenage years with my body. I was in a lot of pain. And so when I was like in my 20s and I had my own insurance or didn't have insurance at all, I had to learn how to speak up for myself with doctors who would talk down to me as if I did not know my own body. So learning to take that into my own hands changed the way that I interacted with the healthcare system because I stopped allowing them to tell me what was going on with my body, um, and really did my research in connection with how I feel and how I know my body to have been. Um, I know what pain I'm feeling, so when I look it up, I can. I'm not the type of person to necessarily, you know, nosedive into a specific thing that's too dramatic for what I have. I'm going to look at all the different options and I'm going to go, okay, this one's, process of elimination. This one doesn't work. This one works. And then I'm going to go to the doctor and say, tell them what I have. Let them tell me what they think it is. And then I give back, well, this is the research that I did. So is it possible that it is one of these things? Or if it aligns with what they say, then I feel good about where I'm at. So that's the thing for me that really helps switch my mentality around. Okay, this is me, my body, and no matter how much schooling they have, they can't tell me what's happening inside my body without doing tests, right? They can't eyeball it. So if they can't eyeball it, then I have just as much power to look that up myself and to know, and even more so because it's my body.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm feeling. So
Yeah. Yeah. I can kind of like second that in general what both of them said, what both of you guys said for real, because like for me in general, like I like again, like you said, I know my body, right? And then I'm quick to go into the doctor and be like, okay, so this is what I have, and I'm not against getting different people's input. Like I always ask more than one person. I do my Google, and my thing is, if I'm ever doing research, I'm looking up at least 3 sources before I believe what I read. Like I just don't believe the first thing that I find. Right,
mhm.
so I'm gonna go out there because in general, it's like we need to figure out what this is. Like what Chauncey was saying, like the biggest thing for me is like that irritates me most about our healthcare system is they don't try to figure out what the issue is. It's like, okay, you have high blood pressure, here's a bunch of medications. Okay, yeah, I have it, but what is causing it? And what can we do to prevent? Like, oh, don't eat salt. I don't eat salt, but I still have high blood pressure. So explain to me how this works. It's genetics. No, don't come to me with that.
That
With that, because there has to be
it's
more.
predominant with black men at this
Yeah,
age.
than your family history.
Oh, why?
Okay, then why is that in my family history? Right. I know it's not the doctor's job because they're practicing medicine or, they have all their other patients. So, in the part is, it's up to me to also do my own research and know for myself because, again, they have hundreds of, especially because I get my healthcare through the VA. And so, they have all these
Mhm.
old veterans and they look at me like, oh, what's this young guy doing in here? He doesn't need all this. So it's just like, I know how to go when I step in there, I gotta like bring it for myself, like, okay, this is what the issues are, this, and that. Cause even like I can even bring this around to like my trans care, right? Because the VA is just now getting around to accepting LGBTQ in general, like in any aspect of it. So especially the T. So a lot of times when I'm coming to my doctor, a lot of times I'm coming like, okay, so this is what I read, this is what I found about these issues that I'm having. What are your thoughts or what do you know from your medical background or aspect? And a lot of times that's one thing I will give full respect to my endo at the VA is she's like, I don't know, but let me find out. And then a couple of days later, I have a message in my secure message about whatever I asked her about. Right. So I will say I lucked out in that because I know not all people have that. But again, kind of like you were saying, like in general, it's like you got to make sure, like when it comes to your health, like no one cares about your health but you at the end of the day. So if you don't take care of it, nobody else is going to. So that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I pretty much said everything that I was gonna say. Like for real, like really being able to be a part of your own healthcare, like regardless of what doctors are saying. I done been in situations where if I didn't follow my first instinct and push for whatever change it was that I needed, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all today. Like it was literally just that serious, and because of my ethnicity, my race,
Mhm.
and whatever it is that they thought or assumed, it doesn't mean that it's right. If you know something ain't right, then you stand on those.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one thing. Like I try to tell people all the time. Like, don't if something's wrong with you, go to the doctor. That's why you have insurance. That if you have insurance, use it. Like all because like they're going don't they I know they have it where black people don't feel pain or they make up stuff. So what? You're still having the pain, still go. Because that's how we combat that narrative if we actually showing up and telling them like, yo, this is really what this is. So fix it.
I'll be honest, as a person who's been like in and out of doctor offices since I was 12, at 43, was that 31 years of experience? I lied to them. When they ask me on a pain scale, I go one, two numbers higher than what I actually feel because they're already making the assumption that I don't feel pain the same way that other people do. If I don't feel pain the same way that other people do, then I'm giving you a different number because you're already making an assumption about the pain that I can feel. If you think my base level of pain is a 3, then I'm telling you it's a 6, a 5 at minimum, because you don't believe I feel pain the same way. So I need to
Yeah.
tell you it hurts more than it actually does for you to believe that I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the only time I ever really genuinely got the care I was looking for, was when I started telling them I hurt more than I actually was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I just want to jump in and let me know if I'm jumping too far ahead. Like if you already have this outline in the forward, but I also want to go into like kind of just touch on like understanding pain in our bodies doesn't always mean something that the doctors can fix, because there's such a relation to like our mental health, with your nervous system, like pain I mean, I'm sorry, stress and different things manifest itself in your body as different things where it's not technically something is wrong, but like it's not one of the like core conditions on a list somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know why you're having these headaches and the doctors can't figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, you ain't jump ahead. We go with the flow. No,
For sure.
definitely,
For sure.
definitely. There's
Yeah.
been a couple times where I say I went to the doctor and there's something called ascension sickness.
Mhm.
And it's where you're getting literally a spiritual upgrade energetically, and you will get sick. You will get sick. It'll feel like you sitting there with COVID, like on some real stuff. Your body aching, flu symptoms, horrible stuff, and you go everything but test negative, everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be sitting there like, we don't know what's wrong.
Because it's a different kind of sickness. It's not something they can test. It's energetic,
Mm,
and clearing through that is a whole different process. But yeah, that I love what Chauncey said, because one of the things that I think I experienced so much pain in my body is because I was holding so much of myself in, and I wasn't allowing myself to express me fully. And when I actually accepted, like, oh, hey, I'm trans, I'm a man, this is what it is, and this is what it's been the whole time, this makes so much sense. I shed so much. Like, I literally shedded so much of myself and had to come back into a new awareness. And that happened physically as well as like spiritually and mentally and emotionally. It happened on so many different levels that, yeah, sometimes the doctors can't do that work for you. You have to do that for you. And it's something deeper than just, oh, I'm feeling this pain in my body, let me go to the doctor. Maybe there's something wrong with this. No, there's something possibly in you that you haven't healed from or even gone towards healing from. You might not even know you need to heal from it because you're not acknowledging it. And it's stuck in your body. And now you hurt and you don't know why. Why does your heart hurt? Why do I keep having chest pains? Because
Mm,
somebody hurt you and you haven't healed from that. Why does my stomach hurt all the time? Because what kind of food you eating?
mm,
And do you eat emotionally when you're sad?
uh, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we gonna have.
The
Oh,
depth.
you about to say something, bro? Chris.
No, I don't got nothing. Go ahead. You
Oh,
good?
okay. I was like, oh, what? Hold on.
No, no.
All right. So with that, we're gonna break down healthcare. All right. So there's two different words in healthcare. We got health and we got care. And I used dictionary.com, little nifty app on the phone, and there's a lot of definitions. The two that stood out the most, where it says health. Health is the general condition of the mind or body with reference to soundness and vigor. And then the second one was the condition of any unit, whether it's your body, society, etc., anything. It's the condition of any unit. And then we got care, which is, oh, I lost my place. Did I write that down? Look, y'all, we be taking notes. The care is the provision of what is needed for the well being or protection of a person or thing. So when you combine healthcare itself is the field concerned with the maintenance or restoration of the health of the body or the mind, regardless of what state it is, and in regardless of what states within life affects it: society, family, occupation, educational, financial. Everything plays a role somehow in your healthcare. So, what does healthcare, with those definitions out there, what does healthcare mean to you guys?
Okay. Healthcare. Balance. It's the balance between how I take care of myself. Um, so self care, right? Um, and then the foods that I eat, the TV I consume, all of that is included in my self care, combined with how I pursue like medical, traditional healthcare, doctors, and the whatnots, prescription drugs. Um, Allowing myself to be guided not only by that industry, but also by my own intuition, um, and on some level also doing my best to guide others because a lot of people are mostly in the healthcare industry and that's where they get their guidance from and they don't always have the other resources. They haven't done the research because I was very much hardcore vegan for 2 years and did all of that stuff that people do, intermittent fasting and water fasting, and I researched all of my fruits and vegetables and all that stuff. I did that. Um, so sometimes I interact with people who need guidance that is alternative to the traditional healthcare guidance that they're receiving. Um, and I find that is a part of healthcare for me as well, being able to pass on that information.
I want. Let me jump in here real quick. And for me, healthcare, like just in general, when we first, thought of healthcare, for me, it's more like preventative care, right? Like a lot of times we don't think about like actually going to the doctor to care for ourselves before something happens and maintaining ourselves before things happen. Like that's why we're supposed to go, like when I think of healthcare, I think of like your yearly physicals that you're supposed to go and do. Like just, and that includes not just, going physical, like going to your primary care, but that's also like going for your eyes, your ears, your dentist, like all of those, like you want to go on because those are normal maintenance of your body, right? Because that's something that without your body, you can't do anything. This is you only get this once, so you need to take care of it. And that's with the healthcare is for, right? Is to help you because we don't have the expertise. Like, I don't know. I don't have the capacity to go out here and read everything that's in the medical books to learn about what's wrong with me. Right. So that's why I go to a professional, go to a doctor to find out, what these is. I go to a healthcare professional because that's what their passion is. That's what they have to learn how best take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of me and maintain me, keep the maintenance of me, it's gonna be hard for me to take care of other people. So in my mindset, so when I hear healthcare, I think of like just off rip, this in general, like healthcare. First thought that comes up to me is just your primary care doctor in general, period. That's like my first thought when I hear healthcare, and the definition is just going to the doctor or going to the hospital just to maintain yourself and your body, like just in general. So that is my definition of like healthcare. So
Um, Healthcare has expanded over, as you get wiser and you understand more in your life, healthcare has expanded. My teenage version of healthcare is not the same version of healthcare that I have now. Especially understanding how you have to collaborate with your healthcare professionals. Um, but I think, can you put that definition up for me again? The healthcare definition. So it says the field concerned with the maintenance or restoration of the health of body or mind. And when I read that, I don't feel like that is the sole responsibility of other people outside myself. So Chris, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said, and even some of what you said, Eric. Um, just I think that healthcare is something that we look at as a field or an industry, but I think we do ourselves a disservice by like cutting that off or like kind of pigeonholing that to professionals, quote unquote, like people who have gone to school, gotten certified, because obviously, they've done the work, they've gotten the information, what have you. But as you guys so eloquently put it early in this conversation, is that nobody knows our bodies like we do, even though if we don't have the professional jargon to really communicate that, what you're feeling, when your body is off. So when I think of healthcare nowadays in my life, I think of like everything that I do, every decision that I make has to do with healthcare. What am I eating? What am I drinking? What supplements am I using? Am I moving my body? Uh, where am I hanging out? Because we don't talk about that part, right? We don't talk about the energetic part of healthcare, or um, I'm a I'm a big fan of the first 48, and there's a lot of people who get in a lot of trouble just by being at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's considered healthcare. That is your health. Because if we go back to the definition, talking about the maintenance and the restoration of your body and mind, like, so I think healthcare is such a big word to me now, um, that I cannot only think of people who have gone to school or who work in a hospital or who work in a doctor's office. Healthcare is an everyday commitment for me. You know what I'm saying? It's everything is about health, your mental health, your spiritual health, physical health, all of that, your financial health, whatever. Everything is an opportunity to learn and get better and grow. um, and I feel like all of that starts at home inside. You know what I mean? So that's what healthcare is. That's what it reflects for me right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man, y'all getting on all the points. Yeah, healthcare is definitely it's everything. It's all encompassing, and like Chauncey said, it's every day, 24/7, no days off, 365. It's with everything that we do, we say, just everything we're connected to, life itself. Um, with that being said, what are some things that you guys do that actually help you with your own personal maintenance of your health? Like whether it's rituals or um, rituals as in things you do every day, or could be the other. But yeah, whether anything that you guys do that you feel helps with you, whether mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, nutritionally, all of it.
I would say for me, like when it comes to my healthcare, like just simple things, right? Like I try every day. I take my medicine, right? Once a week, I'm stabbing myself in the leg. I'm, every day I'm checking my blood pressure, right? I'm always, these are like my daily things that I do for my healthcare, right? Just on that part. But outside of that, I also make sure that I breathe, right? Because there's times where I'm easily overwhelmed, right? I'm real easily stressed out, all these things. So when I feel that coming up within my body, I stop and I just breathe, right? I take a moment where I just do some type of breathing exercise, whether it's just me just closing my eyes for a second and just trying to take in what's happening right now, or like I do little things where I just rub my fingers and I focus on just that. Like I just sit there and focus myself for my mental, because I know if I allow myself to become too stressed out, that can cause more issues for me down the line, because my body doesn't do well with stress. And so that's one thing I've learned over the years of how to take care of me, is to try to reduce and keep my stress level to a minimal. And another things that I do, probably people don't like, and then why they don't invite me into things, I don't go places. A lot of times you're not going to find me outside of these walls for my health. It's not, I might say, oh, it's COVID out there, but no, in reality, it's for me, because I want to be able to continue and maintain. Like, oh, you need to go outside and get some vitamin D. I was like, I got pills for that, they got supplements, right? But they try to encourage these things or whatever, but at the same time, it's just like, for me, like I know when it's okay for me to step outside, right? I don't need anybody else to say you need to go outside. Like, no, right now it's not a good time, right? So these are kind of like little things that I do, is I try to pay attention to what's going on inside of me, so that I can bring my best self to those who need me when they need me. So
Most def, most definitely. See, you just said breathe, and that actually reminded me of I took yoga once, and she kept saying, "Make sure you breathe." That's something we really don't think about. You're like, "Oh, damn, I didn't breathe." For like this past like 40 seconds, I'm so focused on what it is that I'm doing that you don't take that time to just.
yeah, it's crazy because earlier today, this random side story. I was helping a friend out, taking him somewhere, and he was into his phone, focused on what was going on in his phone. He was like, I was getting dizzy, and I couldn't figure out why I was dizzy. He was like, I forgot to breathe. I was like, sir, that's why I'm glad that it's natural, right? I'm glad that we naturally don't have to think about breathing.
Right. Everybody passed out.
Right? You have to pass out so focused on the show that you watch on your phone. Put the phone down, like, and breathe.
Definitely, definitely.
I mean, yeah, I'm taking my meds daily. Lately, for my own healthcare, I've been trying to eat salads. getting them vegetables in been kind of hard. You know what I mean?
For real.
Throw it in the smoothie.
You
Everything tastes
know,
good in the smoothie.
say what?
Everything tastes good in the
A
smoothie.
smoothie. See, I got fruit. I got frozen fruit. I got two different blenders.
There you
Yeah,
go.
just
There you go.
I'm trying to figure out how. That's the thing I'm working on for my self care. Why I don't like cooking for myself. Like
Mm,
when I'm cooking for another person,
mm.
this, yeah, let's do it. I'm cooking. When it's just me, I'm like, this dude don't deserve fresh cooked food.
But you need to change that though. You need to change that mentality though, right? You got to
And that's
change
all
that
right.
and maybe pretend like even if it's a point where you got to like pretend like you're cooking for somebody else,
Start cooking for
right?
two, and I'm gonna
Y-
eat for two, and that's
I
the
mean,
problem.
don't eat for two, right? Make for two and then put one away for later. This is for you
Lunch for
now,
dinner.
and this is for you later, right? That's the way to
For
do it.
real.
You know?
I'll work on it.
right,
That's
lunchtime.
what I said. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Be buying little packs of salmon. I love me some salmon, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on
Salmon is
incorporating.
delicious.
It is incorporating little changes
Mm-hmm.
into my routine that can help me get more vegetables and more balanced meals. That's
You gotta celebrate that, man.
man,
You have to give yourself big ups for that, and you have to recognize, not just when you call it little changes. I think sometimes we trivialize that to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh, we didn't go from here to the result, but um what we don't realize is the journey is traveled in footsteps. You know what I'm saying? The path is traveled in footsteps. So we have to celebrate every footstep. I'm not saying that we gotta like, throw a party for every footstep that we have, but it's the footsteps that's gonna get you there,
yeah,
you know. So I guess, just in terms of healthcare for me, like right now I have a little bit of a focus on just recognizing my own power and recognizing who I am and stepping into that. That's a part of healthcare too. Because when you are continually minimizing or trying to shrink yourself, like that's unhealthy as well. Because and then that will cause you to do other things that are not good for yourself, um, as well. So I think that if we take one of my mottos is building on a cellular level. So if we take everything from the ground up, like every time we have an opportunity to make a decision, we may not make all the right decisions every single time. But if you make more right decisions, for yourself than wrong decisions, you're gonna be in a better place than you were yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And take it slow. Don't try to take on the whole world. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing was built in a day. I don't think. Um, and
I
I
built
think
a
we just
Lego
need to
set.
take our time. You said what?
A Lego set, maybe.
I'm gonna call you back. Um, but
my mama
but I
likes to
think
feed me one day.
just in general, giving yourself grace, but also holding yourself accountable, finding the balance in that. Um, that's just what I'm doing, and everything that there's so many places that I'm trying to improve and be better. Like I'm a student of life, so I'm always trying to be better at something. But if you're not careful, you can mentally drive yourself into a place where you feel like you're never satisfied. So there's a delicate balance. One of the things that I'm actually doing now is learning how to uh, allow myself space to play, to have pleasure, that I'm permitted pleasure. So if I've been eating well all week and I want to have two donuts on Saturday, well, I'm gonna pull up to the Krispy Kreme line and I'm gonna get my donuts. That's what I'm gonna do. Even though I know that's not the healthiest thing for you, but you have to allow yourself pleasure in your life. Uh, Otherwise, what is what are we here for? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And I know many people might not think that that's healthcare, but it is unhealthy to stay in a constant state of dissatisfaction with yourself. So you must give yourself room to play, to let loose, to experience pleasure, to treat yourself, to reward yourself, and then get back on the horse. And a good friend of mine kind of just explained that to me in terms of maybe you need to plan your pleasure a little bit. If you do well all week, go out and have some chicken wings and bourbon. Do it. Why
Don't
not?
forget, don't forget to call your buddy Chris.
Hey, I'm gonna hit y'all with the group text. You know what I'm saying? We out here in the streets.
That's right.
But I mean, there's I think when with health, there's a delicate balance between everything that everybody says is like good for you, and then actually experiencing like joy and pleasure in life as well. Decadence. That's what we in here for. Like, I'm not about to work my whole life and not experience that. So that's where I'm at with how I approach healthcare. Um, Daily decisions and prioritizing, or excuse me, planning play and pleasure. That's where I'm at with it.
It's very important.
Yeah, because the thing is too is like you don't want to deny yourself those things all the time, because the more you deny yourself, the more resentment you start getting to yourself for the good things that you are doing. Right. So keep those things, like get those 2 donuts, right? Even if it's in the middle of the week and you're just having you just can't do it. Like, all right, maybe I'm not gonna do 2 donuts. Maybe I'm gonna do 1 donut because today was bad. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, because we're human. Like, we need these things. We need that enjoyment, that satisfaction that we're gonna get from that moment for ourselves, right? So yeah, 100%.
Gotta be happy.
Definitely. Gotta be happy. Okay, I ain't gonna sing. I ain't about to beg you.
Yes.
That's my song though.
Clap along
um,
if you feel.
the things I do, definitely my spirituality. Taking cleansing baths, sage, praying, that
Yeah.
my connection with Father, Mother, God, my spiritual team saved my life. Like, saved my life. Um, on so many different levels.
Mhm.
So definitely having that stronger connection with that. I'm not gonna jump too far ahead, but we're going to dive a little bit into the different areas of the healthcare. But for me, the spiritual part was very important because I'm walking around. I was told from as a kid, like, oh yeah, you got gifts, but ain't nobody said nothing. You hear that in church. But there wasn't any more details to it. And nobody could give me the clarity or what it was that I'm like, it's something missing. It's something missing. And then I started to deny them. Then a whole lot of mental health issues started to pop up, like being misdiagnosed with bipolar. Come to find out, that was some ancestral things. How that happened? Well, the guy just sit there and looked at me. I told him, hey, I feel, sometimes like this, sometimes like this, sometimes like this. Didn't look up from his notepad, not one time. 5 minutes just telling him a couple things. Oh, put some pills in a vanilla envelope. Here you go. That was, yeah. I'm just like, yeah, no, this ain't healthcare at all. And that was on a mental health level. But yeah, and I feel like that's some parts that aren't taken seriously is the spiritual components of a lot of things. Like Chauncey had touched based on things that's going on in your life and it's manifesting in a physical form. Like, yeah, if you ignore something and you kind of have an inkling, but you just ignore it because it's like, no, it can't be that. That's too simple. Sometimes it's those simple things that can blow up
Yeah,
pretty quickly, especially
yeah,
over time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna get into what has changed for you since transitioning when it comes to healthcare. What are some things that has changed?
Man, I go to the doctor more. I mean, not because something is wrong, but I think the human body is a delicate balance, and even if it's only every 6 months or every 3 months, depending on what's going on, it's important to me to understand what my baseline is doing, and that helps me make decisions about myself. So previously, prior to, I might go to the doctor once every year, once every 2 years. Um, I just, I wasn't an individual that needed a lot of medical attention, but I do understand how important it is to understand myself as a baseline. But the cool thing that has happened in that process is that the more understanding that I have of the vast under like the vast definition of healthcare that I carry, it also kind of gives me prompts me to do more um, health search or health participation within myself outside of pharmacy, without outside of like the medical uh, industry, just in general. You know what I mean? So I'm in a space in my life, and maybe this is coincidental, but I am doing more, internal reflection, doing more. I just started journaling. I know that might not be deep for other people, but it was very, very difficult for me. And I recently,
Yes.
there's uh,
Uh, froze up a little
uh,
bit there.
can you
You're
hear me?
losing
Bro,
connection.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and just in recent times, I feel like something's been cracked open in me as well, and that's not all due to just being in the doctor's office. But what I'm saying is, when you are paying attention to the balancing of your body, what's happening within you, you can't just you can't only like lasso that to just your medical health. Like your medical or your participation in like the medical.
You're
You can't not think about your mental health. You can't not think about your spiritual health. You can't not, if you're doing it the way that it should be done. You know, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So that's changed. I'm a lot more in touch with my internal me, whether that just be like my scientific levels or whether that be spiritual, mental, all of that type of stuff. So a lot more in touch with me.
I would say actually I'm the opposite. I've actually started going to the doctor less.
Mm.
I was, but I would say, but I've physically I've gone to the doctor for physical things less, but I've increased my recognition of my mental health. Though
Mm.
I've kind of, even though I'm in search of a therapist right now, I still try to be more aware of where my mental health is more so than where my physical health. So since transitioning, that's for me, that's been a thing. Like, because I've always, and then too, I know part of me is probably falling into my mental as well. Is like, I try not to seem like a hypochondriac because it's like, oh, my foot hurt. I gotta go to the doctor. I try to. That kind of got to me a little bit. So like, I know that's something that I have to overcome in myself. But yeah, I'm the opposite. Like since transitioning, I've actually go to the doctor a lot less than I did when prior to that. So that's never thought about that until this moment.
All the truth is coming.
Yeah. Um, what's changed for me since transitioning? I go to the doctor more consistently. Um, and I feel more empowered by going to the doctor versus before I used to feel a bit more defeated because I always felt like they were telling me something was wrong with me. And so now I get to go to the doctor and just have a discussion. Like, there's no preconceived negativity for me in it. I'm in pain. Some days I'm in pain. I'm not always in pain. Actually, my pain management is pretty good right now, if I'm being honest. So I feel pretty good about where I'm at in my journey in healthcare currently. But um, it does make it a lot easier to go to the doctor and not feel overwhelmed immediately. So I think I have a better relationship with my healthcare team.
Mm.
Um, and I also think that what plays a part in that is having to be fully transparent when I show up to the doctor. Because every doctor I go to, they're like, "What medications do you take?" And I have to tell them every single time. And I have to put, so much information for my whole entire medical history. As we all know, you go to a different doctor, they want to know all of it, even if it doesn't pertain to them. And because they need to know what medications you're taking in case they prescribe you something, all those different elements that play a part in prescribing drugs in healthcare. So I just feel like I have a better relationship with the whole thing, healthcare system, my doctors, my own body, um, and being more honest when I am hurting and in pain and it's not manageable on my own.
Okay, okay. For me, I could say since in my process of embracing all that I am, uh, definitely feel more balanced. So it's like, yeah, of course, I would exhibit symptoms of being bipolar because if my feminine's energy is sitting over here in a corner somewhere and my masculine energy is taking over, which actually was reversed for me. My feminine energy and my masculine energy, like, if you don't say something to stand up for yourself right now, what are you doing? What is going on right now? Like, so yeah, definitely being able to really just embrace everything that I am, not leaving something out and feeling as if like, oh no, I have to choose between this or that or that or this, and just being able to be me and finding a safe space and bros that's like you. We don't care. You do you be you. It's yeah. That's what changed most for me when it came uh, to healthcare and my journey of being a two spirit. I feel y'all. Going to the doctor. It depends. It depends. I've never been a big medicine taker, so I'm kind of in the middle between the three y'all, whether going less or going more. It depends. It depends.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We about to hop into the deep stuff. All right, so y'all, we there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. Laws, political wise, that's been going on when it comes to healthcare. How do you feel about the changes within the states regarding healthcare that have happened recently? Like we got that bill that just passed where parents can't decide for their kids and whether, they can live their true self. Got abortion going on. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Mm. That's deep. Cause don't know where really to jump in on that, in real life because it's unfortunate because I feel like, they're starting with the kids and they're gonna eventually, come to us adults, right? For whatever reasonings that they have. But from what I understand, they passed something that's not happening, right? A lot of them they're trying to say, you can't do gender affirming surgeries for kids when it comes to kids that identify as transgender, but they're okay for a cisgender teenager female to go out and get a boob job, right? To go get their nose fixed, right? In my opinion, those are just as gender affirming as, having top surgery, right? Even though hospitals say and everybody says they're not doing that for minors, you have to be a certain age before any of that happens. I feel like those things are like they're they're assuming things are happening that are not happening because that's what they feel like they're going to be able to get people to agree with them and be able to push whatever this agenda is that they have. And that's just my personal understanding opinion of what's happening within the United States when it comes to transgender people in their healthcare, especially when it comes to the youth, right? To the children, right? And uh, so yeah, so how I feel about it, it's frustrating, it's irritating. I wish people actually will do research versus listening to people, right? And believing whatever they're told. Actually read a book, right? Go talk to somebody that's actually doing the things versus somebody that just does that has some vendetta or some agenda, right? That they're pushing. Actually go talk to somebody. And I will say that's one thing I did respect about our governor. He said he did visit all of the children's hospitals throughout Ohio and asked them questions and they answered his questions, right? So I give him respect, and I wish all other people that have these same questions or thoughts and feelings will go do the same thing, right? But I'm gonna get off this pedestal because I can continue.
We need infomercials for the ignorant, if you will, because how many 16-year-olds are getting nose jobs because like where's the regulations on that?
Yeah,
There's
that was a
plenty
good
of
point.
little Jewish girls at the age of 16 getting nose jobs because they don't want their nose to look like that no more.
What, lip fillers and two? They're getting those things as well, and just
So like it's ridiculous, and this topic angers me in a way that I don't know how to articulate all the time because I'm an anarchist. I would burn this shit down right the fuck now if it meant we didn't have to deal with any of this stupid ass shit. Like
mm,
put all them people in a building and I am the person who would absolutely create a plan that
but we're not.
we're not going to talk about and name. But
Exactly.
that is the anger that is inside my body. Like
Yeah.
I'm a very peaceful person. I'm a very chill dude. But we start talking about regulating other people's decisions about their bodies. Their parents know what the fuck they're doing. Excuse my language, but come on.
Yep.
What why I'm so tired of living in a country that keeps wanting to regulate the things that other people do with their bodies and you've done none of the research. You have none of the understanding. You've talked to none of those people. You've had none of those conversations. You know nothing. You have
Hmm.
the only thing you have is power and
Yes.
ignorance. That's the only thing you have.
Yeah. Right there.
Right. No, shit, let it out. I mean, it's real. It's real. It's raw. That's how people are feeling. Like we should be able to express ourselves. Exactly.
So I can't. I'm doing my best not to speak harm into these people's existence.
I think there's such a disrespect of the multiplicity of humanness.
Hmm.
And this conversation is so nuanced that it's difficult to use, an hour or 2 hours to try to discuss or break down um all the things that you could kind of like all the branches to the tree that is this conversation, right? The problem is I think that a lot of this lies in the fear of loss of control, and very much of what Eric said around there are people that they have preconceived notions without really actually understanding or talking to or having conversations with or being exposed to people that don't live the lives that they live, right? um so when we talk about how I feel about the changes regarding healthcare, man, I just feel like it's such a bigger conversation. I feel like first and foremost, are we saying that parents are not apt enough to make decisions for their children, right? And then, even bigger than that, or not bigger, I won't say bigger, but in tandem with that, are we saying that not only are parents not apt enough to make the decision, but I am more equipped as a stranger to make decisions for you? That's first, and you know what I mean? And then on top of that, when we look at how conservatives even view the subject matter, or they talk about, a lot of times they rely on um, religious backing, right? A religious base to this. And if you want to talk about God with me, I understand that God is all, God is everything. And there's not a blade of grass in this world that looks the same. There's not a snowflake in this world that looks the same. There is not a fingerprint in this world that looks the same. That's why it actually serves the purpose of being able to identify an individual. So then when you try to pour who people can be into a binary, it seems counterproductive. So the only thing that I can think of when we're talking about banning gender affirming healthcare is the fact that there is a level of control that a certain sect of people have, and opening up that conversation and allowing that to be permissible defies that. You see what I'm saying? So I feel about that how I feel about the entire conversation, which is much more vast than just the healthcare. I feel like there is a lack of understanding in hearts and minds about people, about humanity. And until we can have that entire conversation, we are going to continue to struggle for scraps from the table everywhere. Everywhere. If it's not this bill, it's going to be another bill. We're going to be fighting, we're going to be rallying. At the end of the day, it's, in my mind, it's really about who
Yep. You for us, bro.
Yeah. Oh.
No, definitely though. I definitely agree. It's definitely way, way deeper than just healthcare.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can,
Yep.
okay. You see what they did right there? You see how they did me?
Right.
You
Yeah.
feel me?
Hate it. Hating.
Uh,
Hating. He's about to
but
go in.
I'll
It's the
bring this to a
truth. Every
close and
time you
just
start
saying
speaking too
that
much truth, Chauncey, they cut you off. I swear.
I'm telling you, hey, if y'all don't see me for a couple weeks, somebody check on me.
Yes.
We
But
got
no,
you.
for real. Like at the end of the day, I think people are so focused on like it bill by bill, but we're talking about battle by battle. But there is a war afoot that we don't even have the luxury of paying attention to, because there's so much focus wrapped into every single, like, just literally trying to survive as people. You know what I mean? Like the Holocaust is real, slavery was real, like people, genocide is real. So at any point in time, somebody makes a decision that somebody doesn't belong somewhere.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I guess it's like I said, it's just such a bigger conversation. So how I feel about it is that it's a larger conversation, and if we're not having a larger conversation, then we're not addressing anything. To be
And
honest.
that's the frustrating part right? I'm gonna be honest because I've listened to conversations. Right, people always, sending me things to listen to. Right, when it comes to especially this conversation. And was it the most recent one I watched was I think there's this group called Jubilee or something like that or whatever on YouTube where they had these conversations. And I would, because I'm the one, I like to hear both sides. Like I'm not the one that's like, oh, this one side, that's it. I'm gonna take it. No, I want to hear both sides. I want to hear all sides of the story, right? And so just listening to some other things that the other side is saying in terms of these things, it's just like that's not what's happening, right? And some of it, yeah, I give them, I'll admit like, okay, yeah, maybe there should be a little bit more research on that one thing, but you shouldn't stop that one thing for those that is working for, right? And so just that attitude, that mentality, like you're so passionate about something that's not happening. And that's the most irritating part about it is like, their biggest thing is like, when you're like, my favorite argument is chromosomes and when they dig you up in the future, right? Are my two biggest things that I find the most. I was like, why is this part of the conversation?
They do be harping on that a lot.
They harp on that.
They're not gonna. But we do know there's literally archaeologists who have dug up people and been able to be like, oh, this person is presenting as a man, but every single like they're laid everything for how their culture works says this is a man, but these are the bones of a woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing too. Like this isn't new. This isn't this isn't a trend, right? This isn't, and that's one thing that irritates. Excuse me, in general, that bothers me is like everybody's like this is a new thing. Everybody's jumping on this trans agenda, like they pushing this on. No, they're not pushing it. It's just being more acknowledged and brought to light more because it's been hidden, because it's been unsafe for us to be out here. And now that we are safe, we're coming out, right? And so that's what they're not recognized because like. There's no way that I'm the first Black trans guy ever, right? There's just it's not a thing. We're not the first ones. We're not going to be the last because that's not the way. We're not. We're not going to be because that's the way the world works. Like you were saying, like down to the fingerprints, right? We're all unique in our own ways. Why do we want everybody to be exactly the same? What kind of world is that? Why does everybody have to walk, talk, and look?
It's a controllable world. It's a controllable world because when you can put people in a category, you understand how to control them.
But why do you want to control people? Why is it so important to control what's going to happen if it gets out of control? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? Everybody's going to get free healthcare.
It's literally just the control. It's literally just
it's an addiction to power. Say what you said, Indalo. What you say?
Power, greed, those two things. Get rid of everything else. Ain't no seven. The first 7 deadly sins is 2: power and greed. Yeah, exactly.
They don't then they can't have it all. Down, nothing.
They can't have it all. Yeah. And it's they is whoever they are in whatever category they exist in. No, it's and you're right. It hasn't. History's been wiped away for. People came, went to different places. Like, we don't like what you're doing. You should do it this way. Yes. It's like, that's like somebody coming in your house right now and telling you, you can't fold your clothes that way. You have to fold them like this. You're going to look at them like, get out of my house.
Yeah.
And why?
That entitlement that you can do that.
It's like, well, not just entitlement, but at the end of the day, I think it's really just who's benefiting from what. So you're going to try to manipulate situations into your own benefit, right? And just in general, like that's part of human nature, right? We manipulate situations into our own benefit just in general, right? But some do it more than others. We talk a lot about mental health
of others.
Absolutely. A lot of people's existence is actually hinged on other people's oppression. Simple. You know what I mean? If I'm a millionaire, right? If I teach you how to become a millionaire and I lose all of my employees, then I can't be a millionaire anymore. So why would I give you the knowledge and the access to raise yourself up when I need you to exist in order to prop up my life. I need to have control over you in order to prop up my life. You know
And
what I'm
that's a,
saying?
and this is a topic I have constantly is like, don't get me wrong, there are people that are not meant or built to be millionaires,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody is here for a purpose. Everybody has their reasoning to be who they are. So that person that you're worried about that's going to probably may take your workers from you. A lot of they're not. They're going to have their own workers. That's the mentality people don't understand. Like
It's
nobody's going
limited.
to nothing is limited. That's just the thing. There's nothing that is limited. What is supposed to happen will happen. If you're supposed to have that, you will have that. Right? That's the mentality people don't understand. Like if you have something that is taken away, then that was the purpose. You were supposed to have it for that limited time so you can learn. Because you don't know. You might get something that's even better. You might got that $1,000,000, right? Somebody comes along and take all that from you, but the next time go around, you up with $2,000,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's was the purpose. Their purpose was to come and
Times
take
three.
that from you so that you can get more, right?
It's
So
a
why? So it's just that mentality that I don't understand is why people limit themselves to wanting to control things that is not meant to be controlled in
the,
general.
the thing I
It,
don't get
Control is
about
an addiction.
control
I
is an
know.
addiction.
Trust me, I'm a Capricorn. Trust and believe.
He knows. He knows. He knows where that.
Okay.
He be over there struggling. This is how he
I,
can speak to it. You gotta. He deep in it. He know.
I will say, like I've learned to realize I can't control everything. Right? It's not meant for
Let
me.
me find out
I
you
stress
who we
myself out.
hiding from. You who we got to fight against. Let me find that out.
Right. He over there hoarding money like a billionaire. Like, look, the thing I don't get is that limited mentality and the fact that, look, if you pay your people well enough, they'll go make more babies. Who you think they're going to suggest for their kids to work? How many
They don't think like
parents put their kids on at their job?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's where you get your future workers from. So
yeah.
why doesn't that play
Mm.
create loyalty by paying your employees well, giving them amazing benefits,
Who is
giving
it?
them plenty of fucking time off so they can heal
You
from their
know,
sicknesses and from their mental health shit.
was it Costco? I remember watching I was watching one of those business shows or whatever where they were looking at him like because he's the Costco was like they're real big on about their employees, right? They care about they give them the benefits, all these other things, like and the interviewer was like in awe that the CEO was talking about all the stuff that they provide and give to their employees. Like, what? How it was just like mind blowing to them that they have the audacity to give their employees maternity and paternity, all those leaves when they have a child. Like they don't mandate that they immediately come back afterwards, right? So it's just like that's I don't know. Again, back to that control
Yeah.
thing in general and not wanting it all, right? You want it all because you don't want nobody else to have it when you can get more, and people don't understand you can get more by giving more. Like
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, when if you've been bullied, you either got a choice. You either become a bully yourself, or you heal from it. They decide to become bullies. They decide at one point in time they didn't have control over themselves, over their life, or whatever it was. They never healed from it, so they're like, you know what? I'm gonna
It's
make sure
that
that
old
I have
school. If you
control.
can't beat them, join them. You
Right.
can't beat them, join them. They said, well, I can't beat them, so I got to join them, I guess. Let me go beat up some
Mhm.
kids smaller than me.
And
Because that's
and
what we
then
do out
fear.
here in these streets.
Because
Right.
rumor have it, sadly enough, kind of to circle back to our whole healthcare conversation. Like I've I don't know. I learning that I listen to a lot of things, right? And one thing I was listening to once was some guy down in the Appalachia, U.S. was saying that he didn't want universal health care because he didn't want others to have it. Think of that
At
mentality.
least he's honest.
Yeah.
I would rather people say that. Just be that dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at least you ain't making up shit that ain't real. for
Yeah.
reasoning for you doing some messed up stuff. You just don't want other people to have it. Just say that.
Like
Right.
you rather you not have it because other people have like that mentality in itself is just why America is the way that it is. Period.
It's literally that's why things ain't free. The amount of things they closed and made you have to pay for because they had to open it up to everybody when it was white only,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, we got to let black people in." Okay, this is no longer free. It's no longer cool, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna make it really shitty.
Yeah.
Great,
Mhm.
you messed it up for everybody now.
Yeah.
That was smart. Good job.
And healthcare is literally a system. It's a system, just like anything else. Like welfare, it's a trap. If
Mm-hmm.
depending on your economic status or your educational status, they assume you're going to fit in this category. You're going to be here, and you're never going to climb up. You're going to always be at the bottom of the barrel because you don't have this, or you don't have the access to this, or you don't have the access to this. And then if you do get it, then there's going to be some type of obstacle, some type of blockage.
There's another obstacle. There's another hoop you got to jump through.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
that's the thing. That's the way this is my belief and my understanding of the world. There's always going to be people that's less than, right? There's always going to be people that are supposed to be, you know, supposed to be but lower class. Like it's supposed to be designed because this is the way that things are designed. It's supposed to be like there's supposed to be people that's going to be at the top, but if all because you're at the top don't mean you have to push people down because there's people that's supposed to be down that's going to help you get to the top. Like that is the
Mm-hmm.
way the world is designed, right? It's always been like that. It's going to continue to be like that, but right now it's abundance of the top being greedy and wanting to stay at the top and refusing to let people be who they're supposed to be and at the end of the day, and that's where the balance and things are getting off because of that, my opinion.
That hoarding mentality. They're
Yeah.
hoarding things like
Yeah.
they're hoarding money. You could give that to other people. Jeff Bezos don't need all that money. There's no way in the world you can tell me that Jeff Bezos needs all that money.
Yeah.
Nobody need Beyonce don't need all that money. I love Beyonce, but she's still what, a million billionaire. She's still up there. She's still making more money than any one person needs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need to see now. I don't know what they do as far as donations and the charitable contributions that they make and how they pay that forward. I don't know anything about that for either of those people.
Yeah.
But and they don't need to prove nothing to me or anybody else, right? But you got a lot of money. What you doing with it? What opportunities
Hey,
have you created for people? What have you paid it forward? How have you paid that forward?
but are we not responsible for some of that? I know we didn't got away from healthcare, but let's just talk
We
about it. You
did.
know what I'm saying? Like, let's just talk about it. Like, are we not responsible for that? Like, because can Sexy Red be popular if we don't make her popular?
Right.
Can Beyonce be rich if we don't pay $776 per ticket? Can
For
Elon
Paying
Musk build a
nosebleeds.
to see her on
rocket?
YouTube.
No, but like, no, seriously, like
Yeah.
there is a responsibility that lies on the people as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
we think
We paying for it.
like we're victims in this shit. We're not victims.
We're choosing.
Like, we have bought the same pair of Jordans 96 times
For 3 decades.
in the same
Just
colorway. And I'm not saying I don't like Jordans. This is not me like hating on the situation. What I'm saying is, where do we recoup our own personal power?
Accountability.
mm-hmm.
Accountability.
You hear me though?
And that's why they are where they are because they know that you're going to pay that $800 for those nosebleed tickets.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
And the
For
cycle
those,
I
continues.
didn't. I did not do that. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
I'm
I
just saying
don't know
this,
the people that
and
didn't make
Somebody
it.
they
did
know,
though.
they
There are
know you're
plenty of
about to
people
go.
who did.
They know you're about to go out here and buy those Jordans that you already have in your closet. You're gonna buy them again because they just released them
Yeah.
again. They know you're gonna
I
do it. That's why
listen.
they
I was
continue.
walking out the grocery store today and looked at a young boy's Jordans. He had ones, and they was like black patent leather with the gold, and I was like, them boys is clean. Like for a minute, I was like, let me get on the internet and see where they at. Man, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying that you can't have nice things. Again, that you can't like revel or indulge, right, in pleasure. But come on, what like how? What is the extent of that?
To
Yeah.
what
How
ex-
many times do you release the same pair of 11s in the same colorway and charge the same? How do you do? Like, how do you?
That's where that balance comes
What is
in
the
play. You
definition of
can't
insanity?
overextend yourself.
Hey, hey.
You know
But
what
the
I'm
thing is,
saying?
and it's also a word that we haven't mentioned either. Is also called capitalism.
Hmm.
Because they're capitalizing on the fact that they know that you're going to go out here and buy them Jordans. That you're going to
Right.
continue. You're still going to, even though matter how many times you can't stand Jeff Bezos and how horrible he treats his employees, because he's like, I don't care. They're going to fire him. We're going to hire more. You know, there's always going to be somebody needs a job. That's his
Always somebody needs
mentality.
a
But
job.
what's stopping us from going on his website and still ordering stuff?
I am a Prime member right
Because we
now, and
want
I
to
will
be
talk so
part
much shit.
of. We want to be part of the here and the now. We want to keep up with the Joneses. So what's making us mentally feel like that we need to do that? Like, why do we got to have a Tesla because somebody else got a Tesla?
And this
Yeah,
real
I
quick,
mean,
when it says keep up with the Joneses, I married a Jones just so I had to keep up with it. But continue.
I'll call you back. I'm gonna call you back.
Look, don't be making jokes.
No, but
You can't follow
but
back,
for
man.
real, like what? Why do we feel the need that the thing is like why do we live externally versus internally? Like we should be looking at that from a an over like a high level overall, but from like also a very like micro and macro level. Like why do we feel like we need to have what somebody else has? Think about social media. Think about the dopamine that you get when you're like
That
scrolling on, and I know we are away
Yeah,
from
right there.
healthcare, but this is healthcare too. This is
it's,
the
This is
it's
everyday
healthcare,
healthcare.
type
it's
shit.
This is
financial health,
absolutely
That's
societal
Like,
health. Yeah.
why do we feel like why do we when we post something, why do we get a little burst of energy? You know
right.
what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
Like
That's why.
when we get a like on our post or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like
You,
come like we have to
It's the
really
high.
like dissect
you
that
said it.
type shit. We have to really like take control of that because social media is a beautiful tool if you allow it to be a tool for you. But if you allow it to run you, it becomes a different thing. You know what I'm saying? But
It's an
unfortunately, a
addiction,
lot
just
of
like
our
the
youth
rest.
is growing up in the world of social media. So
Mhm,
their lives are based on social media. You know
mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, one thing I had a conversation about is like, with your children, there's not a lot of new things in the world, but they're new presenting, right? So the things that your children are going through right now in school, we didn't have the same problem. So if we busted our ass on the gym floor, nobody saw that but the people that was in the room. Now it becomes a meme that can live forever. You understand what I'm saying? There are differences in the way that life is had. So this is what I'm saying. It can be either a danger or it can be a tool, but it also affects like the way that we look at ourselves because we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, to other things, to other goals. You know what I'm saying? And people are not showing the real life things either. Like they're showing all of their successes, but not a lot of people are showing the failures either.
And
You
that's
know,
it. Because you said it, bro. You answered your own question. That dopamine. And that's why, in general. That right there is why people do what they do. It's that joy and satisfaction of seeing that dopamine you get from seeing somebody congratulate you for getting that master's degree, right? Because it's
yeah,
funny because I was thinking about that earlier for
That's the
myself
programming.
because like
Hmm.
two things I want to say. One thing is like I earlier today I was thinking about that, right? Because I was thinking about like because I'm like how could people be on social media all day long and post shit all day long? That's all they do, right? What gives them that? Like, because I struggle. I was like, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like there's people that don't have social media at all, and there's people that can't stay off of social media. I'm somewhere in the middle, right? And it's just like, and I feel, and part of me that realizes people that has that can get that satisfaction. They get that dopamine from it because not only are you getting it from that reply, but you're also getting it from the light in your phone because of what it does to your brain. Like I can get real technical and break down a psychology degree that I don't have,
Nah,
but it's
go ahead
still
and talk about it,
Because
bro. Talk about
we about to do that anyway. I don't even know why you said that.
Right.
We about
but
to do that anyway.
it's the lights, the lights. Because why do you think you could sit on your phone at 2, 3 a.m. and still keep scrolling, knowing damn well you need to be asleep? It's
Let's
because
talk about the fact that they're made out of crystals, and those crystals are talking to the crystals in our body.
exactly all of that, right, is why we are on what we are. But the part that also additional part that I want to add on to that is this is what's here now. And you said like the kids today don't have what we have, right? But we would have had it if we had it. If when we were in school, if we had our phones to show off somebody busting their ass, trust and believe we would have shown it. So it's
It would have been
true.
not much different. So now we're still trying to navigate and learn how to do it, right? Because like it's funny because people laugh all the time about how you think your grandmama would feel about that air fryer. Like she probably would have had one. You know what I mean?
She would have used
if
it.
it
She
was
would
the
have used it.
Right.
abundance of the year, she would have had
But
one.
the
You know?
difference is though is that even though they might have used it to it because they didn't, there was a level of of utility they did not have, but there was also when with in bringing in that level of utility, there was a level of like all of the response, the just the backlash, also like whatever came from that, the outcome from that did not exist as well. So yes, they might have used it, but because it wasn't there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's two
It
sides of
just
the coin.
didn't
The coin
happen.
didn't exist at all.
It and technology is a bad thing. That any of these things are bad things. I'm just saying that it's just very important that we balance and understand how to use these things. Because I think we are brilliant as this is why we are human beings, because humans can do stuff like this. And I think that's the brilliance in human beings, right?
Vast.
We have to be careful about how much
And froze again.
I mean, it sounds like Chauncey speaking to our vastness as human beings.
Right. No, but it's true though, because like
sorry, y'all. I don't know.
it's programming.
We be hearing most of what you're saying, man. We got you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
No, we
I know
we
it's not
got
y'all
you.
fault.
Yeah.
The energies. They be hating.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's why I started when this very first thing I said about like my healthcare was what I ingest, not only food but what I watch on TV.
Mhm.
What we program ourselves with, what we are watching, what we hear, what we're told is all a part of what we ingest as humans and what informs us when we move forward. So if we look at the history of our humanness in this current modern civilization, it's informed by so many different things. Like our existence has changed. We went from being pretty localized. The only time somebody heard about something was in your local neighborhood if it happened right then and there. And the eyes who saw it are the people who know about it. And those are the people who can talk about it. And that's it. To now, if something happens and somebody records it, it's on the internet and any and everyone could see it.
Mhm.
And that is a whole different energy in comparison. But we still have the programming that comes from interacting with each other in our local communities, as well as on top of the internet now. So not only do we have to exist in the ways that we show up face to face, but now we got to figure out what kind of story do I want to tell to people online? Because it's never the truth. I tell the truth, nobody pays attention to me, but is it always the truth? I don't know. Just saying stuff. But like the
Yeah.
lies and propaganda that gets spread through the media in general, like it's the one thing that I can say when older generations were very anti internet and media and even anti TV. Like, they had a point on some level. There's a lot of misinformation that can be spread, and then you have groups that will join together and create even more misinformation because they believe each other, but they've done no research.
Hmm.
So they're just spreading the same lies and propaganda amongst each other.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's funny
no.
too, because one thing I was thinking about a little bit earlier too, about when we were talking about being in a box and stuff like that. I was again listening to something, right? Because I'm always, I don't talk, I listen, right? Um, one thing I was listening to earlier was talking about how those who are like anti-trans, how they don't let their kids get on social media. They don't let their kids watch TV. Like the only way they have access to the internet is through their cell phone. The kids don't have their own cell phones. The children do not have their own computers. And their classmates are their siblings. So they have these kids in such a box because they don't want them to be influenced by the outside world. And that in itself is just mind blowing to me. It's like you want so much control over your child that you don't want them to be who they're supposed to be, if that makes sense. Like that much control. Like and so that and I feel like that and then once they become adults, that feeds into this mentality where we're at now to where people want this fakeness, right? They want this what is it? How am I trying to say? Like they want that, that control that uh I can't think of what I forgot where I was going. But yeah, that's just that when we was talking earlier, that thought came up for me, right? So
Those alter egos. Yeah, we could take this literally back to Jim Crow. Like, and I know when we hear the term Jim Crow, we think like, oh, it's about racist. It's past that. Like
hmm
slavery was nothing but U.S. slavery was the experiment
hmm
to see how fast they could push it. That's exactly what social media is. We compare, we contrast, and like Eric and Chelsea was saying, we got to be able to. It's the intentions. Can you use it for a tool? How are you going to transmute that negative shit and turn it into something positive? There's nothing wrong with comparing and contrasting as long as you're not debilitating yourself. If you're
hmm
comparing, like, man, dang, I feel like I can do that. I feel like I can be there. That's motivation. If it's tearing you down, where it's like, you know what, I'm getting depressed, I'm sad. It depends on how are you going to work with it. How are you going to manipulate that energy that you're given, that you have to live with, that you have to be around, or that you're choosing to expose yourself to? How you going to flip it? How you going to flip it and make it where it's better for you? It's healthy for you. So, is it all fair? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, no, this conversation went deep, deep. And it's all healthcare. It's health is everything.
hmm Yeah.
Health is everything.
I mean, I can appreciate, like the totality of healthcare.
Mm. Speaking of this, that I wrote down some questions from comments, and if we had time, I was gonna bring it up. That you guys have said. And my bad, boss. I see you out there. I saw your comment. We were deep in conversation. We were on the roll. So, what's up, boss? How you doing? Yeah, that was a while back. Uh, do we give too much power to the healthcare system? And if so, why?
Mm.
Uh, give feels like we had the power to give them in the first place. So I guess the question for me is power in what way? Over our own bodily autonomy, as far as like the decisions that we make for ourselves, or just like the power to what degree? Because I make decisions for my healthcare. as best as I can. But like I was struggling to be prescribed a particular medication, and they forced me to get a very specific medication by not approving the one that I was prescribed, giving me an option of four. When I picked one of the four, then telling me, no, not that one, pick from these two. And then I had to pick one of those. So it's like they already kind of have the power to make decisions if they really wanted to about our healthcare when it comes to like prescriptions or the procedures um, that they're willing to approve if you have insurance, one way or the other, whether government assisted or through an employer or through the marketplace, or however you might have medical coverage, right? They get the insurance company gets to make the decision on whether or not to cover certain things past a certain point. Um, and then the doctors, we're told that they have the expertise, so it makes it kind of easy to follow what they say. I'll put quotes around easy. It makes it convenient to follow what they say because we didn't do the research, we don't know, and we're being told that this is a healthcare professional.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like as far as self advocacy, like when it comes to standing your ground and being able to like tell a doctor, like, hey, I got an ear infection, and they kind of look at you like, you're not a doctor. How you know you got an ear infection? You know.
It hurts. It hurts when I hear, like it's
I think it's changed. I don't think that doctors have as much power as they used to, especially in the world of Google, right? Because like I know for a long time they were fighting. It was like you can't do, but a lot of times we're it's right there. You know, we can learn just as much as about the things that you can learn sometimes, right? If we want to. So I don't think they have as much power. Is the power they have is the power that you give them. Period. Right? Because if you come in there, you tell them I have an ear infection, and they look at you and you're like, I have an ear infection. Your job is to prove to me that I guess you could prove to me that I'm wrong, or you could prove to me that I'm right. But I know what's wrong with my body, and that's taking the power from me in a way, right? Because you're like, this is what's wrong. I know from experience. I've had an ear infection before. So how you gonna tell me that it's not when I'm having the same symptoms, right? So like, and again, my whole thought in general when you asked that was like, they have as much power as you want them to have, right? Because if you like, yeah, you have full control over, because like you have full control over my health. You can do whatever you want, whatever you say, I'm gonna go with. No, don't do that, because like in general, like I recently had a medication change, and I changed the medications because I was like, this isn't working. And I've done my homework, I've done my research. Let's try this one. Because what you tried and what you suggested didn't work. And you can't, and you're not able to give me a reason of why what I'm asking you about is any different, is going to, then it has not the same ability to do with your prescribing, right? So why not allow me to do what I asked you to do? Because at the end of the day, who's paying for that doctor? You are, right? So you cannot, and that's another thing when it comes to money as power, right? Especially here in the United States, right? So how's the doctor going to tell you these things? Like, yeah, give them grace, right? They do know some things. They do this every day. They understand these things. But again, still, you know your body. So again, it's just about how much power you want them to have, right? In control of you that you want them to have at the end of the day. In my 2 cents.
Okay. Johnson, you got anything?
Restate the question for me so I don't go too far off the reservation.
No, you good. Uh, All right. Do we give too much power to the healthcare system, and why?
I think we can. And I think that sits in the seat of like really for me just simply is I think we give too much power to the healthcare system because like in a lot of things in our lives we presume that somebody else has the answers. We are giving the power to somebody else because we don't want the responsibility. And as I stated earlier in this conversation, I think that your healthcare when we talk about the the portion of it that goes when we're talking about like pharmaceutical medical industry healthcare portion of it, that we just wholeheartedly put it in the hands of strangers all the time. And I think we need to take some of that power back. One of my providers said to me at the beginning of my medical transition, talked with me and stated, and I remember this to this day. She said, you know, you take care of the art and I'll take care of the science, which let me know that my health was a collaborative effort in that office. And that's important that we take that. I think it's only, I think the healthcare system gets too much power too. So that's on us. It falls back on us. And I understand that there's like accesses and understanding and knowledge and things like that that go with that, but we have to continue having these conversations and um, building places where people can be open about and have more conversations. But you know, like Chris said, when we talk about Google, we have the internet, we have so many open spaces, and I think that's where social media comes in, where it is a positive tool where we can learn things that maybe we didn't have access to before. So I don't feel like in this day and time that there's an excuse for anybody not to know something. Because if one person can't tell you, there's several other sources that you can go to. So I think some people give the healthcare too much power, but I think that's all on personal autonomy. It doesn't have to be that way.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. Earlier, Chris had made a very good point, like about the bill that came out where it came to parents not being able to really choose for their children that are trans on whether, to get surgeries or the proper medication or things that they needed, whereas uh, cis-born males and females are able to do those things, like getting breast enhancements and nose jobs and things like that. When it came to gender affirming care, it's the medical, social, and psychological approaches and therapies that aim to affirm a transgender patient's identity or align their physical characteristics more closely with their gender. Why do you feel that there's such a pushback when it comes to the healthcare for those that are transitioning versus with cisborn?
I mean, it challenges people's perception of who they are. Like, there's so many gender affirming practices that cis people do that they don't actively think of as gender affirming because it's just something they're doing to make themselves feel better, and they don't necessarily always correlate those two things because gender isn't something they have to think about. So when they're made to think about it in the way where trans people show up, or anyone who's not on the binary, whether they consider themselves trans or not, because there's very men who are super feminine are also going to challenge that perception, right? They're going to challenge their concept of self and how they know men to be or how they know women to be, right? And when you push up against anyone's thought process when it concerns the foundation of how they view themselves, they immediately reject it. There's no room for them to. Some people leave room for that, obviously, but some people there's no room for them to be challenged in that space. Oh, you say you were born this way, but you are this way, and that's not something that I believe in. So if I don't believe in it, then obviously there's something wrong with you. So anything healthcare wise that would affirm that what this person believes is true, there's going to be pushback because there's all those people saying, "Well, no," because that challenges everything that I was told and that I believe, and we've been made to feel like that holds validity in other people's lives. Um, your beliefs don't hold validity in my life and shouldn't need to or have to. I can respect them and you can have them and be over there, and that have nothing to do with me. And unfortunately, those worlds intertwine. You know, the bodily autonomy of other people and other people's beliefs.
I could say this, like I feel like in a way too, like saying, cis kids is okay. They're okay with cis kids getting, lip fillers or, breast enhancements or whatever compared to, trans getting trans kids getting, gender affirming care. Like, and again, I still feel like even those cis children that get those things are even of a minority as well, right? I feel like that's kind of like their argument of, the chromosomes type things, right? They're just using an example. So I will acknowledge that, right? I feel like my argument of that, is probably similar to that for them, right? Um, but again, the for me, I believe the pushback in general, it just has to do with outside the binary, right? It's outside of the box of what people feel like humans are supposed to be, right? It's that's not design, like that's not natural, that's not normal, versus realizing that maybe it is. Because my biggest thing when people say, God didn't make you, so about anything when it comes to religion and God or whatever, my argument is like, how do you know that God didn't make me this way? Right? We were made in his image. Then what makes you think he didn't make me like this? Like there wasn't a purpose or a reason for this. Because trust and believe, not one single person in the LGBTQ alphabet wants to be a part of that alphabet for how much discrimination and hate that they receive.
That's
Period.
for real.
I don't know what person wakes up in the morning and was like, what is the best way for the whole universe and everybody to hate me? For the chances of me to
Homie,
lose my home, my job, my whole life,
family,
lose
everything you know.
everything. You know what? I'm going to be gay. I'm going to be trans, right? Nobody, not a single person. And if they do, you need to put them in some type of mental institution, right?
Yeah,
Because none of us
yo,
want this, right? But that's the way we were designed. That's the way that I'm a strong believer we are the way we're supposed to be. Right? There's a reason why I've met all three of you. There's a reason why this organization was created. There's a reason why things are happening the way they are. And me being the Capricorn again, I can't control it. Right? I've given that up. Right? I'm just gonna roll with the punches and do what I can. And not many people have that strong mentality to be able to do that themselves either.
that and I was just having this conversation with two guys I met in my class, who I had to come out to, and I came out real casually, like it just. I was just talking. I said it and kept going, and I let them deal with that on their own time because this is my everyday life. This is normal for me. You can figure it out, And I said to them the other day, I'm like, why would I choose this? Like if this isn't a real thing for me, then that means I'm insane,
Mm-hmm.
right? If y'all are telling me that how I live my life, how I perceive myself, how I show up in the world isn't a real thing based off of your beliefs, then that makes me insane, right? And I'm pretty sure I don't show up insane, so we can pretty much cross that one off. And then secondarily, why the fuck would I choose this? Why would I wake up every day and choose to be persecuted and oppressed every single day? And not to say that I go outside and that's exactly what I experience every single day. I'm treated pretty well in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are people who literally wake up and are demonized as soon as they wake up by their family, the people they are supposed to trust, who are supposed to love them unconditionally. And those people get treated like they're insane, like they're not valid, like they don't know who they are. And that why would I choose this? Why would I choose this? When I could choose something, I'm not doing this for funsies. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't for jokes. This isn't to humor. I'm not doing this to rebel against anything. I'm doing this because this is the authentic version of who I am. God damn it.
Tell them.
Mic
God
drop.
damn it. Yeah, that's true. That is real. Um, Simply put, you know my answer. It's really just control.
Mm-hmm.
Hear what they don't understand. Um, I love when people say to me like, "Well, I'm not homophobic or transphobic because I'm not scared." No, you're not scared necessarily of the people, but you're scared of the unearthing, the vastness that exists here. You know what I mean? And most of all, you're scared of the lack of control that you have in that position, in that space. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why they would be trying to snub certain people and uplift certain things. It's all about control, uh, which is why I don't think I give much thought to them. That yeah, there are laws, but I subscribe to something like a law that's omnipotent, that's higher than that, that's universal, um, that surpasses any uh, pulsing person, if you will. So I mean, there's that. So at the end of the day, I don't believe that they are going to be able to harness this, what it is. It's a totally different conversation, but I believe that trans people have a purpose in this world, just in general. Um, and who we are is very holy, is very attached to the godhood of life, and we don't have time for that tonight. But this is why I don't get real bothered by their tantrums, to be honest with you. So there's that.
It's like
Love it.
the youngest throwing a tantrum. You just got here, and that's okay.
It's
We're gonna try
fine.
to be gentle and kind with you, but don't fucking act wrong too much, because you're gonna get checked eventually.
Right. You're so
And
cute.
we ain't
You're
even gotta
so
do
cute.
it, right? He's so cute. I don't want to
Yeah,
have
you're
to
so
hurt
cute.
you.
It's all right. But that's the thing, is that when you live inside of these boxes, like I'm just at a space in my life where, I mean, I do feel agitated and I do feel angry, but I feel compassion because I'm like, what is it like to live in such constraints that you cannot see or respect outside your own spectrum, outside your own understanding?
Say
Um,
that.
that's
Mm.
hard. That's hard. and
It's sad.
Yeah. I
heal,
just
you just look at you're able to see other people with a different type of empathy. That's all, you know.
yeah makes us subhuman.
Right.
Definitely. So with that said, we gonna some mic drops at the end. Oh.
Yeah.
Is there any last thoughts before we end this conversation?
No, I was like again another great conversation. Really get into it for real. Like, yeah, if healthcare is vast, right? Like you're saying, like it's not one thing, right? It's a multiple things that create one, right? That's why there's so many different healthcare doctors, right? When you having surgery, there's the person that's put you to sleep, there's the person that's cutting you open. There's all different doctors that do the different things. So healthcare in itself is vast, and the government needs to get out of my healthcare. That's all
Say that. I mean,
Definitely.
my last thought, I guess, is you have to empower yourself. And this isn't necessarily just about healthcare, but in spaces where a lot of decisions are being made about something that's very vital to your existence, empower yourself. Do your own research. Find out as much as you can, even if it's just about the doctor. Do your research about where you're going to get care from, the person you're going to get care from. If not the actual what's happening in your body, do that research, but also be adamant about who's showing up for you. And if you go to the doctor and you don't get good vibes, and when you do stand up for yourself, they don't follow through with what they said they're going to do for you, go somewhere else. Don't be afraid to go find other practitioners. If possible, obviously, there are limitations based off of people and where they live. But if you can help it at all whatsoever, find a healthcare provider who's going to support you and listen to you and encourage you, not somebody who's going to stifle you.
Absolutely. Uh, my last thought is simply just to let folks know you have autonomy and you have agency. Be willing to do what you need to do to maintain that. That's it.
Well, we got asked today.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Good
So
conversation.
for everybody that tuned in, thank you for coming out. We greatly appreciate it. If you're watching this on rewind later on in your free time, thank you for watching. Feel free to hit us up if you have any questions or if you want to talk. We got our social media pages, of course, Facebook, got YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And then we also have our website, which is BTMO Ohio, btmohio.org. And let's see what else. Actually, let me look up. Okay. We got in-person groups, in-person groups every second Monday, and we have online every or which is on the
Hold on.
every second Monday. So we got January 8th. Yep, everything's scrolling through. I'm messing up.
Oh, you're fine.
Or online. And
Thursday.
the third Thursday, which the next one is January 18th of
Yes.
this month.
So the in-person one is tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'll be there. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
me, right? Me.
And we're gonna and in each one of these, we're gonna just continue on this conversation around around healthcare, right? So if you didn't get the opportunity to get your question in, or you have your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions about this topic, feel free, for our trans brothers, tap in, join us in these support groups for these conversations, right? Because we can have these conversations and support each other from when we go into these spaces. Because something we didn't talk about that has come up in these spaces before it's bringing somebody with you when you go to the doctor, right? Having a person there to back up and maybe even speak up for you if necessary, right? Because I don't mind having somebody come with me because sometimes they're going to hear something. It's a lot of information. A lot of times the doctors throw at you, right? So you don't think of everything. So sometimes it's helpful to have that other person there in those situations if you're comfortable with it. So again, that's why, so this, and that's why these places are important, just so we can have that conversation, especially when it comes to trans-specific things, because a lot of times they just be wanting to cut us up just for the money, right? And so talking to us one on one, we can help you. Was like, no, don't do that. We're in your corner. So, but again, like I said, every second Monday, so tomorrow, and then third Thursday, which is going to be January 18th. So put on your calendars. If you don't receive it, if you don't receive the reminder, we do send out reminders. So just text us at 844-484-0920 TMT. That way you get the notifications and reminders and stuff like that.
And look for those TMT group sessions to get a bit more self-care based as we move forward in February in the future.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time and you coming and listening to it. This was a long one, and it was good. I mean, we could have kept going, but I'm hungry. My dinner is ready. So
it's time to eat. This is where we start talking about food. We got to go.
Right.
It's that time. It's that time. So thank you for the time, and we'll see you same time, same place next month.
Peace.